So what percentage of women choose books solely for the sex scenes? The answer is 10%.
So, welcome back. We're into the final part of this morning's show. We're asking if you can ever have too much sex. Gail, Mark and Jackie will give their views in a moment. You can give yours on the usual number if you're not too busy. 0207 173 5555. Keep your hands above the table. Now, today's... Are you all right, Gail? You've been crying with laughter through the break.
We had a fun break. No, I mean, like... No.
Now...
Can I go home?
Today's... No, you can't go home. Today's producer and researcher, I'm going to spare their shame by not naming them, but if you watch the credits posted at the end of the show, you'll find out who they are. They're barely able to speak after devouring this, Jackie's latest novel, Poor Little Bitch Girl. Despite the fact that one of them worked on a TV show called Generation Sex, the pair were overwhelmed by the steamy scenes between these covers. If Jackie's characters aren't actually hiding the sausage, they're thinking about it or reminiscing about the last time they did. Anyway... Andrew and Lisa, I've said their names, were so appalled. They were so appalled and disgusted, they read the whole book from cover to cover, and they haven't stopped talking about it. Breathlessly, of course. Begs the question, can you have... Does it beg the question? I don't know. I'm going to say it begs the question, can you have too much sex? It's everywhere, sex. It's in our newspapers, it's in our magazines, it's on TV, it's in the movies, and if you're not watching it or reading about it, then you're probably listening to other people like me talking about it or talking about it yourselves. A recent survey found chatting about our sex lives came within the top 10 of topics that both men and women like to gossip about. Mind you, some of the other themes included school friends, EastEnders storylines and salaries. It's like Hobson's choice, really. So, does our obsession with sex put us under pressure? Do we feel inadequate with all this talk? I mean, what if you're not actually getting it regularly? Or have you got the stomach for more? More sex. We know sex is great exercise, it's good for your heart, can increase your immunity to colds and flu, can ward off depression, it can even make you live longer. You can't have too much sex, can you, Jackie?
I don't think so.
Because you look, has to be said, you look phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Is this as a result of sex?
No, I was sitting next to a very famous movie star the other night.
Name names,
No, I'm not going to name names, but I said to him, and he's notorious for putting it about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said to him, and I always ask these guys questions that they don't expect to get asked, and I said to him, well, you have a lot of sex with a lot of different women. I said, do you use a condom? And he just looked at me and he said, no. And I said, that's so dangerous. And he said, but it's worth it. I know. I can't make these things up because, you know, I just write about them and change the names to protect the not so innocent.
Do you think it's always been like this? I mean, we know that sort of Hollywood and movie stars and the sort of rich and the beautiful, we all have an expectation, but, you know, for everybody else, I mean...
Yeah, but Matthew, sex is what makes the world go round. None of us would be here if people weren't having sex all over the place. I mean, look at poor Boris Becker on steps.
Well, he's not exactly poor, is he, let's be honest.
Rich Boris Becker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sex is fun to write about, though.
Oh, God, it's
fun to read about. And I write great married sex, because people are always putting married sex down, but I think married sex is alive and well.
Rough sex, loving sex?
Yeah.
Are there any other kinds? That must be about...
Yes.
Gail, well, you're looking very intent here.
What?
Sex. Can you have too much of it?
No.
Right.
That's it. No, you can.
That's it. She's not going to tell us a thing. Well, let me ask you this, because you're asking everybody else. Can you have too much sex?
Do you know what? Very interestingly, I used to describe myself as someone that I didn't think I had a particularly high sex drive, and then I met my girlfriend, Amelia, who you met earlier, and I can't get enough.
And I'm not surprised, having seen Amelia.
Terrible, isn't it? Shocking.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I'd much rather do it than talk about it.
But sex should be fun, though. I mean, I think a lot of writers, a lot of male writers particularly, they write like a gynecologist. And you're like, oh, I don't think so, you know. I try to write erotic sex. I try to write sex that is going to turn people on in a good way, in a fun way.
Yes, it doesn't make me want to dress up as a Nazi.
And I think that's why I've been writing a long time. Yeah, exactly.
Mark, too much? Can you have too much?
You can have too much bad sex.
Good point, good point.
But you can't have too much good sex.
Good
You really can't, and that's the sort of... it's hardwired into our DNA as humans. That's, as Jackie was saying, that we are here to procreate and get the species moving forward.
Our mum and dad's only had... My mum and dad only had sex twice. That was once for me and once for my brother, you know.
But I'm very interested by you saying, I've never heard a man before say that bad sex?
Well,
I've never heard a man say that. Because men love sex. Well, you
Yeah.
know, there's been all these
Yes.
surveys done that every, you know, 25 seconds or something,
That's right. I
a
think
quick
it's 7
sexual
seconds.
Yeah, 8
thought
seconds
goes through their head.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
any sex has got to be better than no sex at all.
Yeah, that's what I think about men.
Yeah. But not for women.
Yeah, I mean, look at somebody like the ex-President Clinton, you know? I have not had sex with that woman. Well, we all know he did.
Did
Oh.
he?
You said it before, it was a sexual act. It wasn't sex.
Oh, do you not consider that sexual act not sex?
It was interesting because you
Should
mentioned...
we have a fight about this?
No, you mentioned it. You said it before. And I was going to bring it up, the Bill Clinton scenario. As he said he didn't have sex, they just had a sexual act. And that's
Guys,
why
while
he
you
got away
carry on with
it.
that, while you carry on, I want to have a quick word with our audience. Can you have too much sex?
OK, indeed. Kim, let's ask you. Can you have too much of it?
Well, it beats jogging anyway. No, I think it's quite nice that it's like fantasy and people can read, and as long as they're of age when they read the books, you know. But
I
yeah,
think
it's great.
I read Jackie's first book when I was about 14.
I get a lot of kids on my website
Yeah,
and Twitter
I bet.
coming saying they're reading me when they're 14. But I teach them a lot about life, you
Yes.
know, and this is good.
Yes.
Get them reading.
Didn't do me
and
any
learning
harm.
about sex.
Yeah, no harm whatsoever.
Good.
And like I said, it is better than jogging, isn't it? And if we weren't talking about sex, we'd be talking about Jackie Smith and expenses, which frankly I could do without. Thank you. And thank you. That's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. And if also you give me the words, I can give you a readout. Trisha's coming up next. First, though, it's goodbye to this wonderful bunch here. Jackie, it has been, God bless you,
It was
an absolute
such a
honour.
pleasure.
A
Thank
thrill.
you, Matthew.
I hope you sell a truckload, I really do. Poor little Big Scott. You guys, what can I say? Fantastic
Brilliant.
show. See you back
Let's
here
go and
tomorrow.
have sex.
More of the same!